It's Baltimore City Council Budget and Appropriations Committee. We are here for Council Bill 20-0527, Ordinance of Estimates for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021. Councilman Eric Costello, 11th District Chair of the committee, joined by Vice Chair Councilman Leon Pinkett, 7th District, Vice President Sharon Green Middleton, 6th District, Councilman Ryan Dorsey, 3rd District, Councilman Isaac Gitzy Schleifer, 5th District, Councilman Bill Henry, 4th District, Councilwoman Shannon Sneed, 13th District, Councilman Zeke Cohen, 1st District, joined by Dominic McAlilly and Kaylin Young and Rebecca Simmons on behalf of Council President Brandon Scott, joined by Nina Themelis and Matt Stegman on behalf of Mayor Jack Young. We have Marguerite Curran. We are here for the Sheriff's Department. Vice Chair Pinkett, I'm going to pass it over to you to chair. We have Sam Cogan and Terrell Boston Smith and Chambers with us today. Gentlemen, I'll turn it over to you, and Councilman Pinkett will be chairing for the foreseeable future. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Boston, I guess you can proceed or will Sam, will you be leading the presentation? Either one.
All right, terrific. I'll start now. Then
okay.
Matt is sharing our presentation. The sheriff was unable to join us today, so Assistant Sheriff Cogan and I are going to just walk through the presentation and talk to you about where we are with the budget and share some highlights of activity that we think are important for you to be aware of the services we provide and how we why we ask for those, the budget allocation.
Sounds good.
Great. All right, we're going to go to the next slide. Okay. Terrific. All right, here's just an overview of our mission. We have wanted to share with you, give you a bit more detail about what we believe and how we approach the work. If you can go back a slide to the mission, please. Thank you. We take constitutional policing and our respect for the citizens of Baltimore very seriously. The office has 213 staff members, 213 positions. 60% of our staff live in Baltimore City, and we think that is important and helps to hold us accountable and responsible to the citizens of Baltimore. Next slide, please. No worries, take your time. All right, and this is a list of our services. The Sheriff's Office is unique in that we have civil enforcement authority, meaning that we serve as a law enforcement arm of the courts, making sure that we enforce civil court orders, which include rent notices, writs, and other summonses and subpoenas that are directed by the civil and local courts of the city. We also have authority for arrest warrants, sheriff sales, fines, and court costs. Our other responsibility includes the protection of Baltimore City Circuit Courts, which include the Juvenile Justice Center, the Mitchell and Cummings courthouses. We also serve arrest warrants and federal task force as members with the DEA, U.S. Marshal Service, and the ATF. Next slide, please. So we have an in-house warrant apprehension task force that also serves warrants on individuals in Baltimore City and throughout the Baltimore metropolitan region. We also serve domestic violence warrants. That was the service that we took over in the 2014 from the Baltimore City Police Department. Also child support enforcement activities, so serving warrants and subpoenas and other documents regarding child support. We transport prisoners throughout the state. We also run a 24/7 communications division and warrant section. And then as needed, we also provide additional law enforcement responsibilities. We serve at neighborhood crime controls. We'll occasionally staff public events and also community outreach programs and charitable events and deployments. That all, of course, depends on our service levels and how we are able to maintain our core responsibilities. Next slide. All right, some key facts. Office operates 24/7, 365 days a year. There is a continuous presence at the Circuit Court facility. All deputies and court security officers are certified by the Maryland Police Training and Standards Commission, and also they must all complete a police academy in the state of Maryland and yearly annual certification. we wanted to sort of provide an update on where our budget is and how it's changed over the last few years. So in fiscal year 2019, budget was is $21.5 million. We had full-time employees at 218. Skipping down to next year's recommendation, we have reduced our staff to 215 folks, and our budget has increased slightly to $223 million. And we'll explain what that is a little bit further. Next slide, please. So as one of the highlights in our budget is that the position I hold, the Chief Financial Officer, was created the previous fiscal year. With that, we've worked to improve our fiscal management practices with BBMR. We are delighted to have a terrific relationship with BBMR. They've helped us to flesh out our budget. Lots of the enhancements that you see here have been helped through with our budget analyst, Philip Gear, also the budget director, and Bob Sinema, and also Dan Ramos. We cannot say enough about how kind and helpful they've been helping us to really flesh out these details and move the direction of our management in fiscal ways. So we also want to continue to provide documents and information to you as the members of the council, and also the office. As an elected official, the sheriff's office is separate and distinct from the city's administration. So we think it's important to continue to be sure we provide you with details about the supplemental services we provide, including staffing, neighborhood events, sort of additional patrols, and other activities that aren't necessarily associated with the sheriff's office, but we do provide, and we think it's important. So along with that, we're also working to improve our management and financial efficiencies. And then we believe that it's necessary to address attrition and other issues with our staff, as 2/3 of our staff are at or nearing retirement age. So working for more collective bargaining. Previously, we had a legislation in through the General Assembly, but that died as the General Assembly ended early this year. We hope to continue to move that along and also address our disparities in pay with a reclassification study that the Department of Human Resources is working on, and other attrition issues. Next slide, please. So you can take a look at our budget. You can see fiscal year 2019, our actual budget in general funds is $21.5 million. We had 21 positions. If you skip to the next year's recommendation, it's still $21.6 million approximately. As a part of the city's request to reduce vacant positions, we reduced our staff by 4 positions. And so we are down to 213 positions. You'll note in the federal line, that's $1.1 million. With the help of BBMR, we are now capturing the $1.1 million we receive as a reimbursement from the state for the child support enforcement activities that we do as an agency. So the state, through a federal grant, receives 2/3 reimbursement for local funds. And so we are helping to recoup that and return it to the city. Additionally, there's a $50,000 allocation in state funds. That is for the grant we've received from the Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention, which provides a uniform allowance for a segment of our staff that does not receive one, and also bonuses for the recruitment of new officers and addressing attrition. The special funds, the $239,000 there, that is asset seizure funds that we receive, which sort of helps you to understand that 8% increase and that increase of $1.7 million is not necessarily increased funding, but recognition of both asset seizures and also the grant and reimbursement that we are capturing. And so we think that's important for you to understand, just to know that we are continuing our services. We've also reduced our staff, and as requested by the city, to help cover reductions. And so we are working hard to be in tune. Next slide, please. And so one of the things we've also want to highlight is, and one of the things we're working on, is to be sure we're accurately representing the revenue that we're helping to bring to this to the city. As you may be aware, the sheriff's office collects various fines and other funds that are required by the court. Those fines and funds are returned to the city's general fund. Additionally, that's noted in the first line under fines and forfeitures. Additionally, the district court fees that are served or brought in from evictions and other fees, that's returned to the city's general fund. And then finally, this other item is the child support enforcement grant, which we previously mentioned, which will be maximized. Next slide, please. And so just an overview of our spending by service. Court security, which is one of the core tasks that we provide, is about 18%. These graphs gives you sort of a quick overview of where we spend by service. As you can see, salaries and other personnel costs account for much of our budget, and we are working to make sure we are efficient in the use of these funds and keeping these things moving along and delivering the best service to the citizens of Baltimore. Next slide, please. And so here's a quick overview of each of the services that we are providing. Public safety, which is courthouse security, which is the security that we provide for as about 5,000 folks enter the courthouse daily, making sure that folks are screened and greeted at the door, and that they are secure, that the facilities are secure. That recommendation remains the same. It's a small reduction in some of the court security officers that we had, about a $245,000 reduction. And so we keep that, and also the position of Chief Fiscal Services is also included in this section too. Next slide, please. Deputy Sheriff Enforcement. This section also includes our administrative activities, and this service is responsible for warrants, foreclosures, evictions, other sort of court documents that are served, and it also includes all our administrative tasks. This service remains, also includes the appropriation for our special fund account, which is the asset seizure account. Next slide. And this is the service of protector orders. This is the service that we took over. It's serving domestic violence and peace orders to individuals as they have obtained those orders, and this continues at a current level of service. And then district court services, those include the evictions, rent service, and other items that we have discussed previously. And child support enforcement, that's just simply the enforcement of child support documents from the court and circuit court as directed by court. So that's how we serve those. Right, and that covers our presentation.
Thank you, sir. I guess either Matt or Marguerite, if you can take down the presentation. And I'll just go in the order as they appear on my screen. Vice President Middleton, did you have any questions?
No, I have no questions. Just one statement. I'd like to thank the Sheriff's Department for all that you do in helping and assisting the Baltimore City Police Department as much as you can. I know that you do extra things during fairs and block parties and book giveaways, so your outreach is far as well. I also know that you assist when you're called upon with areas that have heavy sex trafficking and prostitution. So you definitely, your assistance is definitely needed, and I hope it continues. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Middleton. And if I can dovetail on what you said, the Sheriff's Department does, so many activities for our city, but there are a lot of community outreach events, community events that wouldn't happen if not for the Sheriff's Department being able to provide, I guess, the law enforcement piece that many communities just can't afford. And and you all are always amenable and open to those requests from communities and council persons to help support in that way. So I just want to commend you for everything that you do, but also wanted to highlight that. Councilman Henry, did you have any questions? Councilman Henry? Okay, until he comes back online, Councilwoman Sneed.
Yes, thank you. You guys held a tour this year too, and I thought that was very enlightening and interesting for us to learn more about the sheriff's office. I can't remember. Can you talk about the percentage? I love the fact that a lot of the residents a lot of the employees are Baltimore City residents. Can you talk about the racial makeup, and as well as are some of the people that are working there, are they close to retirement, and what does it look like to get some other folks in that are younger?
Assistant Sheriff, Assistant Sheriff is gonna.
Sure, hi, Assistant Sheriff Sam Kogan. Thank you for the question, Councilman. So what we're trying to do is, and one of the things that you saw in the presentation was we leveraged the Governor's Office of Crime Control Prevention to get a grant to try to bring in younger people and create a environment where we can recruit in a better way. So there's some money that's directed towards that. Unfortunately, we have quite a few of our employees who are reaching the end of their career. And so we're looking at, when we look at attrition, we're looking at like how we need to bring people in, and how we need to make sure that we're bringing the right kind of people in, and bringing people in who fit into the model that the Sheriff Anderson has provided, where we have the community trust. And so we're very careful who we select and bring into the office. And in doing so, I think Mr. Boston said, we have a very high percentage of people who live in the city, which we believe is important to live and also to work into the city. So we're looking at recruiting young people, and at the same time, with the collective bargaining that the council supported by resolution, unfortunately, it didn't pass in the General Assembly because they had to adjourn early. We're looking to try to raise the benefits up in order to make the position of deputy sheriff a career position that's competitive, that people want to join, and so that they can maintain the high level of service that people have come used to expecting from the sheriff's office.
And I don't have the exact number of the racial makeup, but we can check on that. But it's at least over 80% African American, and we can send that around to you if that would be helpful.
Thank you.
Councilman Slifer.
Yeah, I'll just make a statement. I do want to thank the Sheriff's Department for everything they do. Sheriff Kogan, you always hold it down. You guys are always so responsive. So I just want to thank you guys, and I encourage you to keep up the good work. And you know that we're supportive of you guys getting the pay and benefits you guys deserve. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Slifer. Councilman Cohen. Councilman Cohen. Okay, thank you for the message, Councilman Dorsey. I'm going to circle back to Councilman Henry. I don't see him, but just in case. And if not, Chairman Costello, did you have any questions that you want to ask?
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to make a quick comment and echo what Councilman Schleifer said. Sam and Terrell, thank you all very much for all the hard work. Appreciate Sheriff Anderson and all the support in the community. That's it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Being that there are no further questions, once again, thank you, Sam and Terrell. Keep up the good work. And this committee is now in recess until 2:30, when we'll have the State's Attorney's Office.